All right, good evening. I'd like to call to order the Lakewood City Council meeting in Lakewood, Colorado on July 10th, 2023. For those participating this evening on the dial-in, that's going to be 720-707-2699, and the webinar ID is the same as the Zoom ID, which is 849-5732-0840, where you can press pound to get into the meeting and then pound once again when we get to the public comment portion. So I'd like to welcome you all or thank you all for coming out this evening. Whether you're in chambers or joining us online, I'd ask the clerk to please take the roll.
Paul.
Here.
Wolver.
Here.
Mayock Guerrero is absent. Stewart.
Here.
Franks.
Here.
Strom.
Here.
Jansen.
Here.
Sharazai.
Here.
Springsteen.
Here.
Vincent.
Here.
Abel.
Here.
Mayor Paul, you have a quorum.
Great. All right. Well, we'll now move into the Pledge of Allegiance. If you're able to rise, please do so, and we'll remain standing for a moment of silent prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, moving right along, item 4 is council's conflict of interest statement. I will dispense with reading it, but just remind council if there is a conflict to do so, move forward, and we can address accordingly. So that brings us to public comment. This is the point in the meeting where the public is invited to address the city council on items that do not appear on the agenda. All comments should be directed to the city council. I ask that all in attendance observe the decorum of the city council chambers and refrain from applause or audible support or discord with the speaker. There is a 3-minute limit per speaker. The indicator lights on the lectern will go yellow after 2.5 minutes and red when your time is up, and it also has a countdown. And if you are wanting to weigh in online, you can go ahead and press *9 to request to speak. I'll ask for your name and address or name and ward. When you get to 30 seconds, you'll hear, and then you'll hear that same ding again when your time is up. If you have not had an opportunity to sign up for public comment, you can do so in the back. And I know that we have a group that's here to pool their time and has a short presentation as well. So we'll go ahead and move into that. I think Ms. Salazar's still trying to collect. Mr. Mace, you were here early. If you want to come down and kick us off.
I can do that, man.
Great. And then we can go ahead and I'll just go ahead and go to Mr. Wayrich next. And for pooling on that, we have the Workmans and Miss Bailey. Are you all here? Awesome. Thank you.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
I am here tonight, again, to let you guys know that there is a serious prostitution problem, again, down Colfax and Wandsworth, because I have been propositioned 6 times, and I am tired of it. There's other things that I'm also tired of. I have requested a meeting with Chief Smith several times, and that meeting has not happened, and I want to know why. And the other issue is I am quite tired of being told that I don't do anything for the city when I'm the one that's pulling in King's grocery carts, and I'm quite tired of being told that like I said, I don't do anything. I don't fight for the city when I'm up here every 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mace. All right, Mr. Wayrich. While you're coming down, I'll also note that we did have one comment on Lakewood Speaks regarding Mulholm Elementary.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time this
welcome.
evening. I greatly appreciate it. Over the last 4 to 5 months, our townhome community has been experiencing significant issues with respect to the cocktail lounge at Lux. And I just want to be heard today to present to you all the ongoing issues, all the evidence that we have to present, and really just hope that you guys can be an advocate for us in really getting this resolved in a hopefully a quick fashion. So Lux Cocktail Lounge, it's located at the corner of Wadsworth and Jewel, 7576 West Jewel Avenue. Hours are 2 to 12, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. And I want you to just highlight the red arrows that I've got there. Please also note that the buildings on the east and west of it. The townhome community to the south is the area that's significantly affected by this cocktail lounge. So the issues that we're having is our townhome community, it's the Green Gables townhomes to the south, is directly impacted by Lux operating in such a fashion that is significantly detrimental to public health, comfort, convenience, and safety. Documented issues: music volume, bass emanating from the property, loud yelling, bass from cars in the parking lot, lights from cars in the parking lot. I'm also, from an environmental perspective, there's a grease container outside, so stormwater issues that I'm significantly concerned about, specifically to that creek to the south, as it is a waters of the United States that is draining to a large reservoir. So, and then additionally, also the poker that currently happens at that location as well too. So I'm sure everyone is significantly well aware of this, but I wanted to just highlight the ordinances that they are violating today. The policy 9.52.020, I'm not going to go into read all of it, but please, at your convenience, do look through that. The biggest issues that we're facing is 9.52040. It's unlawful to make. No person shall knowingly make or continue or cause to be made continued and unreasonable noise within the city. The issue at hand is continued willful. This is just mind-boggling to me how the ongoing nature of this is allowed to persist. And then also to the definition of unreasonable noise means any excessive and unusually loud sound. I will hopefully today be able to present to you what we are experiencing via videos if they are to be able to be played. And then also amplified sound. No person shall use or operate a loudspeaker, public address system, or other loud sound amplifying equipment for the purpose of giving instructions, directions, talk, addresses, or lectures, or for transmitting music. And that's between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. I also have date-stamped videos that are going to highlight exactly when we are hearing this noise. And then it is plainly audible at the property line. Based on the picture that I showed, we are significantly far away from this location. And the fact that we are hearing it should be extremely more troublesome for you all. So this right here today is the neighborhood impact that we are experiencing. I highlighted a petition right here. We have 18 signatures. Those 18 signatures are impacted residents consisting of 15 individual townhomes. There's some neighborhoods that aren't large like this that are being impacted today. I once again just reiterate what's going on here. How Lux operates is truly an impact on our entire community. We have retirees, we have hospital workers, we have public city workers. All of them live in the community at which we are operating. Some of them go into work at 2 a.m. and cannot get a full night's sleep because of it. My neighbor, for example. I want to just continue to pound the hammer in terms of how we are negatively impacted. So right here, I've got video evidence. I'm not quite sure it's going to be able to play, but I do have it on my phone that I will hopefully transmit. But the first one that we're dealing with is June 10th at 1:21 a.m. The next one, June 11th at 12:38 a.m. Those are consecutive nights. I am not around every single weekend to be able to go out, get woken up, and record exactly what's going on. The most recent instance that we were able to dictate, and I have many more than this. I just, because of the size of the file, I was not able to put 8 more on here. July 2nd, 12:05. It's extremely unreasonable for this to happen. All these videos are taken with an iPhone. The iPhone does not capture the bass. The iPhone is meant to be able to speak into it directly, not capture video from 150 yards away. Again, the video itself too is not going to be able to emphasize the bass that this is experiencing. Bass is low frequency, longer wavelength. So it's going to be able to bounce off, and it doesn't get absorbed by the conditions, humidity, temperature. It does not. It just continues on through because of the wavelength that bass is emanated at. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to at least play so you can hear what we are hearing. And let me go through the first one right here. Please, tell me if this is not unreasonable. I know you're not going to respond to that, but this is just another one. People talking outside. The third one. So I don't know how to overemphasize what we are experiencing, and I would venture a guess, every single one of you would not tolerate this coming in at 1, 2 a.m. Oh, there we go. We can actually hear it. The last one. So I cut them down significantly to be able to put them in this, but time and time again, this is exactly what we're seeing at 1, 2 a.m. When it closes up, people are outside screaming, yelling, honking their horns, turning their car on, playing bass at 2 a.m. Sometimes the bar doesn't even close at 2 a.m. It goes until 3 o'clock, opening on up. You can see my passion for this. So now, this is really where it's going to hit home for you. This is evidence. I ran a report, and I got it from the Jeff Kahn Police. They were able, you can go online, get it for free, and they'll send it to you, of all the reports at this location. Summary, 14 noise disturbances. And this only goes back to the beginning of the year. 6 unverified alarms. 1 shot fired. That's 1 too many in my book. 1 criminal mischief, 1 burglary, 1 menacing. I'm hitting the trifecta of exactly what's going wrong, and I'm hoping you're absorbing this. So what I want to resolve is a couple things. I'm just going to summarize exactly from a call to action standpoint. What you might have been able to see from the videos, Lux is at a higher elevation than the first floor of our townhomes. Car lights, music bass, travel to those bedrooms on the 2nd floor because they are roughly 24 feet up. You're going to be able to cascade that directly into the townhomes. They're at the same elevation, that 2nd floor. Not to say that that 1st floor doesn't hear it. If I'm watching TV at 10 o'clock, I'm able to hear it. So that's approximately when things kick off. On occasion, Lakewood Police are unable to visit. They have other high priority calls, which completely understand. This should be pretty low on the totem pole. When agents do respond, they speak to the owner and the responsible party and they request that the noise be turned down. Time and time again, when the agents leave, the owner reverts back to the exact condition. I have 14 examples of that, but it's the same exact instance at the same night. They know what they're doing wrong. They are willfully violating the noise ordinances. Lakewood Community Action Team has been engaged, so I greatly appreciate that. But Lux has consistently violated Lakewood noise ordinances and willfully continues to do so. I'm hoping this really hits home for some folks. Denver City has taken immediate action on pickleball courts at Congress Park. Pickleball courts. Due to the noise midday, our community is asking to take action that directly impacts our peace and quiet at 2 a.m. There's shots fired. There's peace and quiet at 2 a.m. We're talking about a pickleball court. If you're violating ordinances, you need to be dealt with. Please help us prioritize our health, welfare, and peace and quiet. And this is where I want to leave you. Strict enforcement.
You can finish that thought.
Strict enforcement by Lakewood Police isn't the answer. Concrete engineered solutions up into and including closure need to be on the table immediately. I greatly appreciate your time.
Great. Thank you. All right, Ms. Poston, then Mr. Milburn, and then Mr. Comden, and that's all that is signed up in chambers. And if you are online and you wish to speak, please go ahead and raise your hand with *9. I'm good.
Yeah, you don't care, you don't care. I do. Just for the record. And I actually have visual. Are you going to restart this? Thank you. Thank you, City Council, Mayor Paul. I'm here to give you an update on a couple of things. One, I'm getting some photographs from people who work at the Federal Center, and this here is the photograph, and as you can see, they are doing work there at the Federal Center, and look, hazmat. So I've passed an email out to you. I have gotten one ruling on the paperwork that they rolled out to me that I showed you that was so redacted. And I appealed the redactions, and they took some of the redactions out. They took everything out except for the amount of monies that they were discussing. They would not let me know the amount of monies. So now I'm doing an appeal. It is to the National Archives. I sent that off today in a registered letter, and I explained to them why I needed to know the amounts of monies as well. The next thing that I'd like to address is I want to thank the community that's come forward and said things about what's going on. I did do a Quora in the beginning of June about homelessness because there was a mayoral candidate in Denver who was saying that she could solve homelessness in 6 months because she had gone around and had conversations with 7 mayors and was going to have this coalition and stuff for the homeless. And anyway, I wanted to see if there was any kind of things happening with our mayor. And there really wasn't, but I got 4,000 cores for 1 week. And they only charged me $33, thank you very much. And that ended up being a little bit more than 1 cent an email. And I went and started through these emails, and one of the things that I found that was terribly interesting is how many people have problems. Problems on Zephyr Street, problems with people who are doing things, and how it's not being addressed. This is graffiti from Kipling and Jewel, and there is a businessman there that's dealing with us. And the last thing I'd like to say is that tomorrow night, there is a water board meeting with Green Mountain Water Board, and they are going to be doing a review of water promises from 2007. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Milburn? Good evening.
Good evening.
Do you want to hold this? You're tall.
Ready to go?
Yep, you're good.
Good evening. So, my wife and I moved into Ward 2 about a year ago, and we recently discovered that Mulholland Elementary School is closing down, and so you guys were taking public comment on ideas for what that could be transformed into. And so we live about a stone's throw away in a neighborhood that's really beautiful. The neighbors take great care of their properties. There's a lot of gardens, there's a lot of growth, there's a lot of animals. And so rather than turn it into a rec center or something that already exists a few blocks further past Colfax and Harlan, we would like to see it become something of a farming co-op. I believe I made public comment on this, and so we think that'd be a wonderful addition to the neighborhood, to our community. I believe it's right in lockstep with how our neighbors operate with caring for their environment, thinking of a better future for our kind of health and well-being. And so I just wanted to advocate that as a concerned citizen and a member of our community of transforming an old school that's now shutting down and using that lot and leveraging the land there for something of a farming co-op. So happy to talk through the details of what that could look like if we leverage the talents of somebody like Sprout City Farms or somebody else that's more professional in the space that has more experience. But and I'm also happy to get some signatures from neighbors as well, whatever it takes to see this through, because that'd be a great addition. And hopefully it has more of ripple effects in other communities and neighbors in the surrounding areas. So that's all I have.
Great, thank you very much.
Yep.
Mr. Comden? And anybody else in chambers? Okay, so then next up, we'll go to online, which is going to be ending in 3114. You'll be up after Mr. Comden. Good evening.
Hello. Yeah, I'm coming here to talk about kind of the social fabric of people who live on the street. You know, over the past couple of years, I've gotten to talk to a lot of people, and one of their main concerns is like, every time I ask them how they're doing, they're like, oh man, my stuff got stolen again. And what's really sad is that it's usually other people living on the street that are stealing from each other. And so I always ask them questions of like, how do you make friends, or how do you trust people, and all these things. And some people will, try to hide as far away as they can so no one can find them. And, they don't know anybody else. They just do what they can. Other people will trust other people only slightly. They say you can't really make real friends. You just have to like be polite and try to, go along your day. So I recently heard that at the Dry Gulch, they cleared out a very large encampment down there. And I actually spoke with one of the guys who was living down there from February. So basically from February till like mid-May or June, this guy and about 7 other people, it was a group of 8 people or so that was somewhat stable. The interesting thing about these camps is they usually segregate by substance use of choice. In this camp, they specifically had one rule, and the one rule was don't steal from each other, and we don't use fentanyl down here. And he said it was actually a very stable and nice place to be. They were actually starting to grow plants and stuff down in that area until someone who has a bunch of people that are addicted to fentanyl under their control and brought them down to the camp, and it kind of disturbed the whole situation. Then I hear that the Lakewood CAT team had come there and gave them, the 72-hour notice, but things got really confusing for them because about a day later, the CAT team came again, and they thought they had 72 hours, but there was just some miscommunication or something, so that they all scattered. And some people stayed behind, and they just basically stole from each other. So what ended up happening was kind of the very fragile social fabric that they had and that they built was kind of destroyed in one small go. So I know that usually then they scatter and they start other camps in other places. But the problem with that is it breaks the social fabric. It's very cruel to do that. And it doesn't really solve the situation. And realistically, from when the sun goes down till it comes back up, there isn't a place they are legally allowed to be. Every place they go, it's illegal for them to be. So I just want to make that point. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, anybody else in chambers? Okay, we'll go to caller 3114. If you give us your name and address or name and ward, we'll get you started with, you can unmute with *6.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi, my name is Samantha Selvage, and I actually live in the outskirts of Phoenix, Arizona. But my mom, Angela Selvage, was killed in a hit-and-run, a pedestrian accident about 4 weeks ago on the 6th Avenue frontage road in J Street. That's just in between Wadsworth and Sheridan. I'm calling because I'm asking for your guys' help with the Lakewood PD. I've been working with Detective Moffitt, and my issues don't necessarily lie with him. It's more with Lakewood PD. My issues are the fact that, well, how they've handled my mom's case right off the bat. They threw away important evidence and personal belongings of my mom because they were, quote, broken, when that is all that we would have had of my mother's left. They didn't even give us the option to keep any of it. They didn't find important evidence that the family, myself and my family, had later gone out to the crime scene and found ourselves. They were very dismissive with myself and my family from the very beginning. They were rude, sides at times when we would ask them questions, treated our case like it was unimportant to them, and told me that my mother is not considered a victim because she was walking down the 6th Avenue frontage road. And that does not seem fair. It doesn't seem okay to be that way just because maybe she was homeless, maybe because she was on drugs. And before anyone judges my mom for being on drugs and being homeless, she was abused multiple times sexually and in other ways neglected. Before she was an adult, she had a lot of hard times, and unfortunately, that is the way that she dealt with them. She was not saved by the system when she was younger. My mom was still my mom. My mom had 5 children and a family who loved her very much. She was a beautiful human being. She had a very strong faith, and it's not okay to treat her this way just because she was homeless or any other reason. She was still a human being. My other issue with Lakewood PD is the fact that the detective has now gone on vacation for the next 2 weeks, and my family and I feel like we have no one to turn to for answers. We actually have answers in my mom's case and have basically been dismissed and told that we just need to wait for the detective to come back. So I ask, what are we supposed to do? Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Anybody else online? Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment. Our Mulholm folks, we certainly understand, and we've had a lot of input from the neighborhood. I think at this point, I would encourage you and all the schools that are looking at closing to work with Jefferson County Public Schools, as this is still their property and they're looking to put those out on the market. So I would encourage you to continue to have those conversations. Glad you mentioned the Mount Air Farm, as it is right down the street, and I think they're doing some great things, but I think that right now that's the best to do in that case. To our folks who are talking about Lux, I saw our deputy city attorney reached out already, and I also saw that our city clerk's office as well as the city attorney's office is engaged on that license, and hopefully can try to bring some relief moving forward. Mr. Comden, challenging issues related to our homeless, absolutely, and no great solutions, and certainly understand that humanity piece and the health, safety, and welfare of all involved. So I know this group is committed to trying to find better opportunities and better responses as we move forward. And I think we're, moving as fast as we can, which isn't always fast enough. And certainly to Samantha, our condolences for your loss. And I know that we've seen the story. There was some media, and that your family was here, I think over one of the long weekends, trying to help assist. Certainly welcome to reach out to the city council or to myself on the website, and we can try to see what else we can figure out for you. All right, with that, I'll close public comment and move into the consent agenda. The use of the consent agenda has been made to expedite council action. It contains both resolutions and first reading ordinances. Resolutions are items of routine nature. Members of the public will have an opportunity in a moment to comment on any of the proposed resolutions. First reading ordinances appear on the agenda only for the purpose of setting future public hearing dates and ordering the newspaper publication of the proposed ordinance. No public comments will be heard this evening on first reading ordinances. The public will have an opportunity to comment on proposed ordinances during the scheduled public hearings on the dates set tonight by the city council. Any council member may request an item on the consent agenda be removed for separate discussion and action under general business. I will make one note that item 12, it says, is actually item 9 in the consent agenda. With that, I'll ask the clerk to please read the consent agenda.
The consent agenda includes items 6 through 9. Item 6, Resolution 2023-40, appointing a member to the Board of Appeals. Item 7, Ordinance 2023-28, amending Title 15, Chapter 3 of Municipal Code of the City of Lakewood, Colorado, in connection with registration of vacant property within the city. Item 8, Ordinance 2023-29, declaring the intent of the City of Lakewood to acquire interest in property for public purposes for pedestrian and stormwater improvements along West 20th Avenue, west of Nelson Street to the Quail Street Park, and authorizing negotiations with property owners, acceptance of conveyance instruments, and condemnation of real property interests, subject to further council approval. Item 9, approval of City Council meeting minutes. The City Council special meeting on February 27th, 2023. City Council regular meeting minutes for the following dates: March 13th, 2023, April 10th, 2023, April 24th, 2023, May 8th, 2023, May 22nd, 2023, and June 12th, 2023.
Okay, thank you. I'll open the public hearing on the resolutions that appear in the consent, which is items 6, 7, 6, just item 6. Yeah. So I'll open the public hearing on that. Anybody wish to speak? Okay, before I ask for a motion, I'll turn it over to the screening committee chair, Councilor Sherzai.
Yes, thank you. So on behalf of the selection committee, we just want to again thank all of the members of our community that step up and volunteer to be appointed to our boards and commission. And we're excited to offer up Mr. Dennis Metesky tonight as our newest member of the Board of Appeals. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Metesky, I don't see you here. Okay, so with that, I'll ask for a motion, please.
Mayor Paul, I move for approval of the City Council minutes. Order all ordinances introduced on first reading to be published in the Denver Post, with hearings set for the date included in the ordinance, and for adoptions of resolutions, all of which are included in the consent agenda, items introduced into the record by the city clerk.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the consent. Are there any comments? In advance of the anticipation of Mr. Metesky being appointed, I will just say thank you for serving and your willingness to serve. And you served as a city council member years ago, so welcome back. All right, please cast your votes. See, Councilor, Okay, we got to clear out. Just keep those up for a quick second. Actually, I think we got them all, so we got to clear out. Bear with us. Clear votes. All right, please recast your votes. It's like Simon Says up here. All right, and the consent passes 9 ayes, 1 nay, the nay being Counselor Springsteen. Okay. Will the clerk please read item 10?
Second reading and public hearing for item 10, ordinance O-2023-27, authorizing execution of a permanent utility easement across City Park property at 1195 Benton Street, Lakewood, Colorado, to Public Service Company of Colorado for a gas pipeline and related facilities.
All right, and I'll note that the staff presentation was on Lakewood Speaks, and I'll now open the public hearing on ordinance 2023-27. Nobody has signed up to speak. Anybody in chambers wish to speak? Anybody online wish to speak? All right, seeing none, I will close public comment and ask for a motion.
I move for the adoption of ordinance O-2023-27 on second and final reading.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion or questions, council? Okay, seeing none, please cast your votes. Okay, and that passes 10 aye, 0 nay. Next up is general business, and I will turn this over to Mr. Robb.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just for general business, we have a proposal coming from the LAC. This time it's just in written format with their summary in the staff memo. And we have the chair of the LAC Sustainability Committee, Glenn Wiedock, and another member of that committee, Neil Preister. They are available for questions, should council have any. Otherwise, we do need a vote from council to approve the project proposal from the LAC. Again, this is just a request to let them move forward and research, and the topic specifically is on green remodeling, with more details in the staff memo.
Great, thank you for that. I will welcome our members who are here as well as the chair of the LAC, and thank you for coming. Just for clarification, historically we don't vote on these under general business. We do consensus, but since we did change our policy, is that where that switches?
Right, and we covered this in June. It's just a little bit cleaner if council votes.
Okay, so just for further clarification though, if it's a request for council action under council, strictly council, it's still consensus? Okay, I'm seeing a yes from Mr. Dortek. Okay, all right, council, any questions? Okay, so the vote would be to move this forward, and this is a proposal from our Lakewood Advisory Commission. I guess I'd accept a motion on the proposal.
Mayor Paul, I move that we move forward with the proposal from the Lakewood Advisory Commission to do said research.
Oh, sorry. Second.
Councilor Vincent is anxious to get out of here. It's only 7:40. We could prolong this. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, please. Oh, there we go. Councilor Jansen.
Sorry about that. Couldn't find that little hand thing. So I have a question about the electrification. Is there anybody there that can speak, or?
So we do have a couple of our representatives with us.
From the LAC.
From the
If
LAC?
you'd like them to come forward. they
And we can
try.
have them come forward. You want to ask that question, and we can figure out who best to answer that.
Okay, so before we go with any, I just want to understand what the electrification network is. I don't understand it. So I don't want to vote for something that I really don't understand what that is. So is there anyone that can explain that to me? And is that going to, I mean, has anybody talked to the, because I had someone come to a ward meeting where you talked about the grid and how it's not fortified and it can't handle all the electric they're looking for with the renewables. It's hard to keep it consistent.
So certainly, so just as a process note, what this would do is allow for further conversation and study by the LAC, and then anything that would change or any recommendation would come back, just to be clear on that. And then if any of our members wish to address that question, if you please come up and just give us an introduction, tell us who you are, and the floor is yours. Welcome. We have people scrambling to get up here. If you want to jump up here, it's easier for the camera as well.
There's a lot behind that question, Councilor Jansen.
Could you introduce yourself?
My name's Neil Preister. I'm with the LAC, specifically the Sustainability Committee, Subcommittee. As it relates to green renovation, it would be on the demand side, which is in the home. What you're talking about is stabilizing the grid would have been on the supply side. But on the renovation side, on the demand side, it would be towards limiting or lowering the electrical requirements of the grid through heat pumps is the most common catchphrase out there. But there's many other technologies that can be used on the renovation side, on the demand side, on the homeowner's side to further electrification goals. Part of that goal, that idea is to get off of gas, natural gas, and address those greenhouse gas emissions. So there's a lot behind the answer to your question. I don't know if that helps.
Is that? Okay.
The problem I have is that you want, are you looking for new builds? New builds, you want to get rid of gas totally. You want to do all electric? Exploring?
This is on remodels, not necessarily new builds. This is not going to address new builds. That's addressed through the enhanced development menu in Article 13. There's some holes in that Article 13 for the remodeling that is trying to be filled or plugged. The goal is generally to do full electrification. It is more efficient, and there's a lot of funds available, federal and state, to push those goals. So part of that goal is to make use of those funds that are available.
So are you looking at mandatory, if there's going to be a major remodel of a home, is it going to be mandatory that you get rid of your gas and just put in electric?
So let me jump on that. So that would be the decision of the city council based upon a recommendation. And so because we have upgraded that development menu, this is an opportunity to mirror that, but that becomes a policy decision once the recommendation is made. And this is giving them the opportunity to go back and have those discussions.
We're just looking for opportunities to take advantage of.
Yep.
Right?
Thanks.
Thank you very much. All right, any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. Okay, and that passes 7 aye, 3 nays, the nays being Olver, Jansen, and Springsteen. Well, thank you to our LAC members. Appreciate you coming out. As always, appreciate all your hard work. All right. So next up, we have the executive report. Ms. Hodson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So originally, we had the Lakewood Strategic Housing Plan scheduled to be in front of City Council next week, which would be July 17th. And the Housing Commission has recently met and decided they want an extension to have more conversations and more opportunities to visit with the public about this particular plan. So just to let you know that the housing study is now being scheduled for September 11th. September 11th, and that ought to give us plenty of time to continue to engage the public, really dig into the plan, determine issues, concerns, questions, et cetera. So again, September 11th, I wanted to make sure you saw that was taken from the calendar for next week. And I wanted to mention one other thing, just a personal note. I was shopping at King Soopers just a couple of days ago, and I ran into a woman who has been a manager there for 31 years. And she came up to me to say her and her husband watch city council meetings every Monday. And I said, "Are you serious?" And she, no, and she really, they really enjoy their Monday nights so they can watch the work that you do and that staff does on behalf of the city. And she asked me to express their appreciation for all the work that's done here. So her name is Tammy, and I'm just grateful to have that conversation with her. So thank you.
There could be an award for that, so thank you for sharing that. And Tammy, thank you very much. Okay, council reports. Ward 1 or 5 want to start? Councilor Abel, looks like you're ready to roll.
Yes, sir. No report.
Okay. Councilor Sherazai.
I also have no report, but I would just mark calendars. We are back to first Saturday, August 5th, Ward 1 meeting. And so we'll have one more city council meeting before then where we should be able to highlight our topic. Thank you.
Okay, Ward 2.
We are going to be on summer vacation for our meeting in July, and we'll start again in August. And just a shout out to those people who do want to get involved in the Mulholland Project. I know that there's people working in the community with neighbors. There's also the Two Creeks organization, which is getting very, very involved in that. They meet the third Saturday from 8:30 to 11-ish, or 10:30, sometimes longer. And they'd love to network with anybody who's interested. That's all I have.
Great. Ward 3.
I'm happy to go. The only thing that I have is that I'll be holding office hours this month on Friday, July 21st at 9 a.m. down at Brockmeyer's. More details to come. We'll have some open time as usual and some appointment time. So look for that on the website and sign up to get ward email updates, and hope to see you there.
Hi, so I just wanted to mention that I was on Brother Jeff Fard's show last week on July 6th, which you can find on Facebook, in which I mentioned again that I'm starting a chapter of the NAACP in Jefferson County, have been communicating with the regional president and other leadership about that, who, by the way, have been very upset about some of the recent Supreme Court rulings, including losing affirmative action. I did mention on the show some things that have concerned me in Lakewood of late. There was a TikTok video that went viral last week of a Lakewood woman shouting racial slurs against a Mexican-American family at a luxury apartment complex in Green Mountain. And the reason that is of such significance to me is that I represent a lot of Mexican-American families in my ward and in the city, and have attempted to address some of these things with the city in which I think that we can change the narrative, we can change the culture, but the city continues to fail to address those issues with me. And along those, in that vein, in light of the fact that a 14-year-old boy was killed by police in Aurora, June 1st, his name was Jordell. I have raised concerns about a 13-year-old Latina girl who was killed by police here in Lakewood in March. And I have asked for information about that from the city repeatedly over the past month, but I just keep getting told that I can't have the information, or I have to be more specific about how I'm asking and so forth. And so I would inform the city that there are reporters looking into this issue. It may very well be that there is absolutely no question about what had to happen there. But I think that the city should be forthcoming in that case about what occurred. And so I again asked for the city to release the body cam footage of that day, just like the city of Aurora did for Jordell within a week. And quit hiding the ball on things. It makes us look bad. It makes us look guilty of something. I mean, what's going on? The other thing, you know, and what I want to say to my constituents is that specifically, this city has tried to shut me down from information in that way my entire time on council. And this is not okay, to shut down your representative, your elected official from having information. I mean, the city attorney's office decided unilaterally not to give me litigation reports regarding the police without a vote of council. That is not okay. That's against our charter. The other thing I brought up during the show was Patricia Dilworth and Angela Selvage, who are ladies who were marginalized in our society in some way, Section 8 housing, or people of color, or homeless, and who died in terrible ways in the last 6 months. And they deserve better from this city than roadblocks to information, to finding out more about the deaths of these people. They deserve better. And, you know, I continue to say that we have to have these real discussions. And, you know, I know Councillor Jansen had asked for more aggressive policy on basically public safety in our city. And that's part of this discussion. What is public safety, and how do we approach it? And how do we involve the elected officials who serve this community, who hear from the constituents every day about public safety and what that means to them? But if we're going to just have these meetings where we have nothing to do with the agenda setting, and you know, we just don't address any of these very, very big issues, it's eventually going to catch up with us. It will. And so I hope we can do better. Thanks.
Ward 4?
No report.
Okay, I've got something. we're going to have a Ward 4 meeting on Thursday, so that's like Thursday, July 20th, at the Lutheran Church of the Master at the corner of Alameda and Jewel. The topic's going to be metro districts, in particular, the metro district that we're going to be voting on like 4 days. This city council will be voting on like 4 days later, I think on the 24th. And so anybody that wants to come and share your information or what you know about metro districts and how they've worked in the past, I'm hoping for people from Solterra to come by at least and tell us how their metro district has worked for them, both good and bad. So that would be an interesting meeting if you're interested in learning more about metro districts and what we are going to be voting on soon. And at the same time, you might not have known about this meeting because even though I put it in put in the notice into the city like a month ago, I noticed it is still not posted. I'm looking at that right now. Under the ward meetings page, it's not posted. Underneath the upcoming city meetings page, it's not posted. It's the Ward 2 meeting that is canceled on July 19th. And so I would hope that whoever's putting these on our website can get on the ball there. Because I know when I put in the request that everything was copacetic and we had everything, all our ducks in a row, it came back to me that we'll put it in a couple of weeks. Well, we're now really close. So I don't understand the slow up on that one. But that is all I have for now. Thank you very much.
Ward 5?
No report.
I wanted to report out tonight about our upcoming Ward 5 meeting. We're very excited to welcome Liz Black of 40 West Arts come down to Ward 5 and give us information about all the fun events, the programs that are going up along 40 West to Colfax Corridor, like the Art Line, as well as First Fridays, the galleries, the art shows, to give Ward 5 a little bit more of a taste and hopefully get more of our residents to go up there and visit for their ongoing events coming up. It is also July, which we have in Bear Creek Lake Park, lots of campfire programs, so we just wanted to point that out. I believe it's Saturday night, the different camping programs that are in the park, especially fun for the kiddos out there. We've got one coming up, or I guess the last one was about bats. So that's it in Ward 5, and I guess I wrap it up.
Awesome. Thank you. So just a quick reminder, that is zero fare for Better Air, which means RTD is free in July and August. So if you have an opportunity, please try to take advantage of that. Special shout out to our folks at Belmar as well as the city of Lakewood for the big Belmar Bash, which used to be the Big Boom Bash, but we quit we had to cancel fireworks the last few years, as our friends in Golden unfortunately had to do. And it was incredible to see the amount of people out in the community and enjoying the drone show, Lakewood's first. I was a little bit skeptical. However, it was a really cool program and got a lot of great compliments. So hats off to the city as well as Belmar for that opportunity. And just on a sad note, we always appreciate our volunteers, and Miss Jean Jackson passed away recently. She was 97 years old and volunteered at the city of Lakewood for the last 32 years. So incredible. We really appreciate all those folks who step up and volunteer, and certainly wish her family the best and thank her for the many years of great service. Thank you to our Lakewood Police Department for being here with us tonight, and with that, we will adjourn at 8:01 p.m. Thank you.